There is a question, Hadur, I received from one of the brothers in London. He says that in the book of Hadhrat Mirza of the second Khalifa, that Ghulam Ahmad is better than Ulil Azm of the messengers of God. And in Al-Fadl, it is written,
what is written?
it is Ghulam Ahmad afdal min ba'd Ulil Azm min al-Rasul. That Ghulam Ahmad is better. Yes. And in Al-Fadl, it is said that he was better than many of the prophets of Allah. And it is possible that he is the best among all the prophets. And he gave the number of the page here and the number of the issue there.
This gentleman, first of all, you better translate it into Arabic.
But he said this does not defeat with being a follower prophet. And okay.
What the references?
It is Haqiqat al-Nubuwwah, page 257.
I think we better have these questions, such which need references, to postpone until we have the references available with us. So we better defer this question to tomorrow, because in all other things I can answer verbally, but they are picked out of context, and this is not what we believe. We believe that according to the previous ulama and great thinkers in Islam, the status of Imam Mahdi would be greater than many a prophet before. Now, this is not the Ahmadiyya view. This is the view of the great, well-accepted, highly respected ulama and divines and mujaddideen, for we have that references. So if that is the case, then the issue should begin with them, not with us. I'm giving you an answer in generality, then you can tell this much, and then I'll also show the references. So if that is the case, then the issue should begin with them. If to say such a thing makes it, brings the seer under the wrath of God, so much so that he should be counted out of Islam after he said that, then start this journey from the beginning and start throwing out all such people whose names I am going to give tomorrow out of Islam. Then we'll come to Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, not before that. If they have said it, and if the Muhammadiyya as a whole has accepted that as a correct view, in that case, the issue would only be that of identity. Whether this is that man or not. If we believe him to be that man, how could we differ with your own view that the Imam Mahdi would be higher in status than many a prophet before, or Messiah would be higher in status than many a prophet before? It's not a question of difference of opinion, it's a question of difference of identity. If he is true, then all the expectations of the previous Muslim divines must be realized in him. If he's untrue, then don't bother. You see, then the issue is worthless, not even worthy of waste of a few words. So we believe him to be true. And as such, we believe in all these prophecies and expectations about him. But still what he has said is wrong. We do not believe that Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian is better than all the prophets. It's a word of kufr according to us. Because Hadhrat Masih has categorically, repeatedly, so many times, in such powerful expressions, confessed, professed and claimed that he is a humble servant of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. He has repeatedly said that I am such a humble servant of Rasulullah that all that I have received by way of favors from Allah is because of my being a slave to him. none of my honors have descended upon me directly from God. That is what he says. All because by virtue of my total submission to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah, my holy master, and wherever I stand in this position of complete slavery to my complete master. After that, what is left of these references? Now, it is for them to debate among themselves now whether a complete master, a servant of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah will be better than Yesaya and other smaller prophets of Israel, or will be lower in order. If they say lower in order, then how would they interpret that tradition of Hazrat Rasulullah that ulama'u ummati ka anbiya'i bani Israel? If the ulama of this ummah are like prophets of Bani Israel, then what would be the Mahdi, the Messiah, who stands out head and shoulders and beyond that, above the rest of the ummah? This is only, a cheap attempt to, work up sentiments of ordinary people who don't know these things and to create hatred for reasons which do not exist. I mean, this is totally illogical and meaningless. This much you can say today.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow I'll bring the references and then show the rest.
But it seems that he does not have these references. He read it somewhere.
Of course, they always do. They always do it. Some people like Zahir, what was his name? Hassan Zahir and things. They have misquoted, sometimes they have given reference to books where you don't find any such thing. Sometimes they have picked a few words from here, forgetting about what was before it and what follows. While in most cases the answer lies within that book, not away from that reference. But read a few lines before, a few lines after, and there the answer is. So that I'll do tomorrow, inshallah. But today, in principle, what I have said, you better convey it. And some say, Aksar al-Anbiya, other than Rasulullah sallam. And they give the reason for that. They say because he will be a true copy. Nuskhatun muntasikhatun minhu. Min ismil jami al-Muhammadiyya. These are the words. But I'll show it tomorrow.
Yes, inshallah.
Now the second thing which I could say today without any reference is this, simply this, that these people mostly, those who object to such references, have not read the books themselves. Because I'm quite sure that Arab mind in general is not as twisted as the Mullahs from Pakistan have a twisted mind. What they do is, they write books with alleged references and pick out things out of context and tell the Muslim world, the outside world, that we are from the home, We know what he said and what he written and what the Ahmadis believe. So they pass on this material to them and they accept it without investigation, which is not right. But this gentleman has asked, I'm so obliged to him, very straightforwardly and honestly, whatever he read, he presented it to me to give me a chance not only to satisfy his queries, but also through this question to the queries of all other such people. So I'm really obliged to him. I'm not angry at all. But I must point out to him the fact that to argue that because this is written about him by some of the Ahmadi scholars or even Khalifa, it proves that he is not subordinate to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. That is the ultimate conclusion is drawn. Now, to counter this, we can look at it from another angle. Where has he deviated from the teachings of the Quran, even one jot? Where he has deviated from the Sunnah, even in a single jot? The entire complete teaching of the Holy Quran and the Sunnah is what we practice. Our Qibla is the same, our fundamental articles are the same, our beliefs are the same. The only difference is in the identity of the Imam, there is no other difference whatsoever. Only we practice it more sincerely and more honestly and larger in much larger proportions. This gentleman lives in London. He should genuinely try to compare the Ahmadiyya style of life in England and the women's style of life in England and other Muslims who according to these mullahs are better Muslims, and see the difference for himself. So if a man has practically proved in his own life that he remained completely subordinate to Muhammad Rasulullah's teaching and the Quranic teaching, and he has taught the same thing to his people, how can you say he is not subordinate? What is the meaning of subordination after, if this is not the meaning of subordination? So the real life of every Ahmadi gives light to this allegation. You know, some of Murtadeen have been following this line, and I repeatedly asked Ahmadis to write to them this one single question: as long as you were Ahmadis, please tell us one injunction which was contrary to Islam, which you have left now, and now you have started becoming a better Muslim. Has your prayer changed? Has your belief in the unity of God changed? What has changed in your practice? What is the teaching which has been distorted? Not a single answer was received by any Ahmadi who addressed this question to some Murtadeen. Not a single one. Because they know, if they do it under oath, they know they will have the curse of God, because they are, as long as they remain Ahmadis, they were taught nothing but Islam, nothing but Islam. If this is not subordination, what else is? So try to catch the air from the wrong side, try to catch it from the right side, Simple fact is that he was completely subordinate. He taught subordination, so much so that in one of his writings he says, even if I had done good deeds to the size of the Himalayas, that high, and I did not remain submissive to Muhammad Rasulullah, all these good deeds will be, will be shoved into hell by God, and say, go away, I have nothing to do with it. This is his belief, this is the teachings which he gave us. They're all just mindless small attempts at the hand of the enemies of Ahmadiyya, and they go on deceiving others. They should also remember that is it not the same thing which was done to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah and is still being done? Are there not Salman Rushdis in every age? So would you learn Islam from Salman Rushdis? Learn Islam directly from the people who claim to have something. Learn Islam from the Quran, from Muhammad Rasulullah, not from any other commentators. So this is what we want they should do. They should read the books of Masih themselves. Or they should come to the right source, which is, I am the Khalifa of the Jamaat. I can tell them honestly what we believe and what we do not believe in.
I want to add one sentence, because he also, when he sent his letter, he said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and he was very polite in his
questions. That's what I said. Yes. I noticed this saada in this gentleman. So sometimes I seem to speak louder. It does not mean at all that I'm angry with him, because in the style of his writing, he seems to be a Sayyid al-Fitra man with Sayyid Fitra. So I'm not at all angry, but I know he is deceived. So he should forgive me if my tone becomes a bit harsh. It doesn't have any anger, only a sorrow, a sentiment of sadness at what is happening. One more thing I would like to say.
Yes, sir.
You said that some other people said that he was better higher than other prophets. I personally believe that this is not a kalma kufr, because I believe myself, if somebody calls me a kafir, I don't care. I believe that there were some servants of Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah who were definitely higher in status in the sight of God than many prophets before. Like Hazrat Abu Bakr, like Hazrat Umar, like Hadhrat Ali, Hadhrat Usman, Ridwanullah alayhim. There are many others. And who were born later on, like Abdul Aziz, Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Now, why are they not fair to Muhammad Rasulullah and his ummah? That's the most tragic thing. They degrade the status of Muhammad Rasulullah and his followers so much so that they have developed this inferiority complex. At the same time, they say he is the best of the prophets. Now, what sort of the best of the prophets he would be if he is created the worst of the servants? No, they believe that under Abraham, they were born prophets of God who were of great status and great station with Allah. Under Moses were born many such, and other all prophets. But under Muhammad Rasulullah, no one could be born who could even claim to be equal to earlier prophets. Why are they not honest to Muhammad Rasulullah and what he brought? Look at the teachings of the Quran and what reformation it brought about. Why don't they read the Quran with a little common sense? The previous people came, all the prophets came to purify the people who were impure. But what you know, in the very beginning, what the Holy Quran claims? Hudal lil muttaqin. This book is going to take up from where the earlier teachings left. And even the muttaqis will be taught in the school of Muhammad Rasulullah. Like the postgraduate are only entertained for higher education, not the lesser people. If they read the Quran with open eyes, they will find evidence everywhere that this teaching can make man's status higher than ever before. Because nothing like the Quran was ever revealed. Such a perfect teaching, they admit. Yet how short it appears to fall in relation to its quality of production. You may go on saying this is the best industry which can produce a thing, but when you say as far as the production is concerned, this is worse than that. Yet this is the best. Hadhrat Mirza Sahib took strong exception to this. He said, "Hum hue khair umam, तुझ से ही है खैर रसूल, तेरे बढ़ने से कदम आगे बढ़ाया हमने." We became the best of all the people on the earth. Because of you, my Lord, who is the best of all human beings ever born. As you proceeded further and higher, so we also proceeded further and higher. If this is kufr, then let them call me and all the Ahmadis kafirin. We don't care. This is truth. They should realize that they are not inferior, and it is who are suffering from inferiority complexes absolutely unnecessarily. I am my Ahlul Bayt, long list. Yes. Not only Hazrat Ali, Imam Hassan, Hussain, Zainul Abidin, Imam Baqir, and all those followed them. You know, if they're honest, they read their life history and how God treated them and the light they were given, and compare it with earlier prophets, they will be dimmed in before their lights. This is honestly the truth. The rest is all their, what should I say?
هناك أيضا الأئمة من
raving I wanted to say, but this is a harsh word. But they should cease saying the durood, which they say in the namaz, in every namaz. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin, kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima, innaka hamidun majid. Why do they say unnecessarily wa ala ali kama ala Ibrahima wa ala ali? Then God has decided, no, I'll always keep his al higher than the al Muhammad. If this is their belief, what is the point in saying that durood? They should strike it out. Be honest, see what they're doing. But most of them are blind to what they're reading, what they're saying. They don't know the deeper implications of of what has been taught to us by Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah. Jazakumullah. And the references will be covered tomorrow, inshallah.